Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now.
Hmm?
You know, because Mariah has the Lammys and
Yeah.
and
Uh,
uh and Beyonce's got the Beehive. I've got the
Yes. Yes, you have the brains. I like yours best.
Red. I do too. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. We like you. This is the spot. This is the place. This is the location right here where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We're going to Ohio. Brains, you don't know this, but Ohio is one of my favorite places on the planet. My mother was from Ohio. Well, all the family was from Ohio. Akron, Canton, Massillon. I love the Amish country, the corn, Bob Evans. All that makes me so happy. But I also like is the down home feeling of the nature and the vibe. But what I've noticed is that Ohio has not progressed. Now, they got a lot of, boxes that they can tick when it comes to politics. But when it comes to the economic structure of the people that live there, some of the towns I just told you, they don't have buses. They got all this beautiful agriculture. They could be growing anything from hemp to corn to whatever. But it makes you feel a certain kind of way. It doesn't give you the drive and the inspiration to move forward. And that is what Denise is doing. She's pulling that out of the women that live there. They want you to be unapologetic. They want you to be bold. They want you to step outside your comfort zone, start some of these new industries, stand up for your rights, stand up for your community, be a pillar of the church. You know, these are the things that we're going to talk about and a whole lot more. So let's welcome her to the show. How are you doing, Denise Day Nash?
I am doing great, April. Thank you. And thank you. Hello, brains. Thank you for having me here today. I'm having a great day here in Northeast Ohio. Obviously, it is April. We get some tough winters here, and we had a tough one this year. And I am excited to say that today there's sunshine out, and I think it's in the 60s.
Mm.
So this afternoon later, I'm heading outside to enjoy some of this beautiful weather.
Well, I tell you, it makes me so happy when I get there and I land and I'm driving. It's a little unnerving because I'm a city slicker, honey. And when it get
Uh-huh.
dark and those deers is running alongside the road and there's no lights on some of the roads, it just really kind of makes me nervous. So I go ahead and go inside. But we're not going to go inside. We're going to take it outside today. We're going to take it outside of our comfort zone. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about you, Denise, and how you found yourself in this zone of genius.
Okay, so again, I am from Ohio. I will be 60 next week.
Oh, happy birthday,
Well, thank
Portia.
you. So yeah, when I say that, I just pause. I'm like 60, and age means nothing to me. That number doesn't mean anything, but it's still fascinating to me because of where I am right now in my life, and I never thought I'd be here at the age of almost 60, and that's a good thing. So I am also the very proud mom of an almost 28-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old granddaughter who is the light of my life and my best buddy and all those other good things. Um, I enjoy some of the things I enjoy. One of the biggest things is I love to do mud obstacle course races.
Oh, goodness
And
gracious.
so like a Tough Mudder, a Spartan, and funny thing, April, I didn't even start those races until I was in my early 50s.
Mm.
So this summer I'll do number 10 and 11. I like to play in the mud. I like climbing under, over, through obstacles.
Well,
And
I tell you, you're a force
yeah,
not to be messed with, too, because I see them do that here in San Diego on the Marine Corps military base.
yeah,
They
I
do
do
that.
similar.
Yeah, and, those women are nothing to tangle with.
No, and it's kind of funny. My guy, he goes, you know what? He goes, I had to do that when I'm in the Army. And he's like, and you pay to do this. You pay somebody to torture yourself, you know. But here's a cool thing, April. The fun thing is when my granddaughter's 11. When she turned 7, she was old enough to do her first little women's only mud obstacle race.
Oh, wow.
And so she did that with me, and she's done one every year, girls only type of races. So I also have my granddaughter in there, and it's not to win, it is just to have fun. My goal is not to get hurt at the end of the race and just get a lot of pictures, and it just makes me feel alive. I do a lot of things outside because, you know, God gave us this amazing, amazing place. And I feel most at home and calm and in my element doing anything outside. I love kayaking, I hike, I do trail running a little bit, usually the hiking, anything outside, anything that involves an adventure. I've zip lined, things like that.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you,
That's who I am.
I'm not that adventurous no more. The last thing I did was last August. We went out to the Salt River, and the cotton picking current changed. I'm not a swimmer. I'm a floater. Okay. And the current changed, and all of us went under, and it was horrible. So I don't need to do any of that. I will be the one that when you do the race, I hand you the water.
I would love that.
I hand you your badge. I give you your flowers because it takes a lot of courage. Zip lining, I'm always worried about how they've maintained those cables, especially, foreign countries. We've been to Costa Rica,
Yeah. That's on my bucket list.
Asia. Yeah. Yeah, I've done all that. But see, I don't know how they've maintained those lines. And, so that concerns me. But
that makes sense.
You've done other adventurous things. You're helping women reclaim and thrive.
Yes.
How did you find yourself in that place?
So it's just my story and my journey since I was a young girl, to be quite honest with you. Quick snippet, I grew up in an abusive alcoholic household. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. He was physically abusive to mom. He was not physically abusive to the kids. I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl. But dad wasn't there. You learn to walk on eggshells, as nice dad coming home, as angry dad coming home, all that other kind of fun stuff. And so starting at that point in my life, I developed a really poor coping mechanism of being the queen of people pleasing, which I didn't realize until probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And that affected my marriage. I am no longer married to that man, but it did affect that. And it affected, it was hard for me to trust people, both females and males. Growing up as a people pleaser, I don't like confrontation because I don't know how to deal with it appropriately. So again, that started when I was a little girl.
I love a good battle.
You too.
Just like you like playing in the mud. Yeah, like you playing in the mud. I am a wordsmith. I'm not, I can talk to you, as my husband say, you can give a tongue lashing and not say one curse word. But if I feel that I'm right, I'm gonna do it. But if you're wrong, I step back and allow you your space and give you your flowers. I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's hard when you are in a situation with individuals that are under substance abuse because they have no filter. It's not just about that. It's about whatever is rattling in their mind. And you being the other female there with 3 brothers, you don't understand or what they're absorbing from what your father is displaying. And I always tell women that the first thing to look for in a conversation when you're dating a guy is how he talks about his mother. Do he have mommy issues?
Yes.
No. We've got somebody in a very high profile place here in the United States that never talks about their mother. And treats women like indigents. So look at that. Or does he use profanity around them? Does he disrespect them? How does he treat his sister? Those are key
Sure.
indicators as how he relates. So did you see any of these signs in your ex-husband?
You know what? It's interesting because no, none of those flags popped up. He's actually an extremely nice guy. Funny thing though, he is a recovering alcoholic. He was sober when we were married. He was not sober when we dated, which should have been a red flag back then, because how do you have a healthy or start a healthy relationship with somebody who's in substance abuse, right? So there's not a good, relationship because he's an alcoholic. He doesn't know how to have a healthy relationship. And I was still that people pleaser, right? So I didn't know what it was like to have a healthy relationship. On top of April, I have also come to realize recently that growing up in that type of atmosphere not only made me a people pleaser, I also have just recently realized that it gave me feelings of I am not enough. I felt like I was abandoned by my dad. And when I say just recently, I'm talking in the past couple months.
Wow.
This just real, continuing on my personal journey, which will never stop, right? That's what we want to grow and, continue our growth. And I thought, but why do I have these feelings? I was being triggered. And I'm like, why am I feeling jealous? Why am I feeling abandoned, with my new guy who treats me like a princess? And I can actually, guess what, have confrontations with him and I'm okay because I
Mm.
can trust him and he allows me to be who I am. For the first time in my life, I found somebody who allows me to be who I am without dismissing me.
Let me ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go deep.
Okay.
Define your definition of a people pleaser. Give me some examples.
Um, the biggest one for me was when somebody would ask me to either do something, hang out, whether it was hanging out with them, whatever, I would say yes. A lot of times before they even finished asking me the question, like there was no intentionality behind it. And so I would say yes, or even when people, in particular, mainly my family, maybe they didn't directly ask me something, but I could see they needed something, maybe some type of help, anything like that. And I would jump up and just do it
Mhm.
because it made me feel safe inside. So I was actually helping sometimes because it made me feel safe. I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. So
Actually you were co-anchoring it. You were
yeah,
co-facilitating it, and
yes,
and
that's a good way.
when I look at person that's a people pleaser, because I'm not,
Hmm.
right? And I'll
I
tell
love
you,
it.
and no, and I'll tell you, I am very kind and I'm
Hmm.
very empathic, but I'm not an
Yes.
and I know how to turn it off. But the most important thing I learned from when I was 13 years old is teach people how to treat me.
Hmm.
But if you don't know that and you haven't been taught that, okay, so
Yes.
pleasing, that could be loaning of money, that could be lowering your standards, that could be um, cohabitating, letting people use your credit card, uh, getting involved in drugs and alcohol, sexual
Hmm.
indiscretions. All of these things are to be loved and to be validated. What does that
Yes.
to be validated? Again, like you said, I'm not enough. The first thing you do, Brains, is you start with that I am conversation. What are you?
Yes.
Do you even know who you are? Do you even know how you rise up? Do you even know what you show up? Do you even know what's in your container? What you have to offer? Do you know that the word no is a complete sentence? No.
Oh, absolutely.
And yes, other people's feelings are going to show up. But what you have to understand and what you have to realize is that this is a team sport. And everybody's not going to be the captain, everybody's not going to be the quarterback, everybody's not going to be the running back, but we're all a team. And how does that really make you feel inside? Do you want to be liked? You know, and consider the source who's liking you. Have you ever done, have you ever run across a person and you say, oh, well, that she doesn't really treat me very well, or I know that she's jealous, or she says ugly things, but we've been friends for so long.
Well, it's like you said, April, we train people how to treat us. So I can't blame anybody. I don't like to use the word blame, but you also mentioned we have to be aware of it. You were aware of it at a young age. I was not aware of it. So when we're not aware of something, how do we change? Right? How do we change that? So that's really what I had to go through. I didn't even realize I was a people pleaser whatsoever until I started talking to other women, trying to learn more about myself, because what happened was it burnt me out physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I did not like the person I had become.
Mm.
This is not me. This is not my spirit. When my spirit was starting to break, I was like, oh, no, 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 this can't happen. And and again, these thoughts and this realization started when I was in my 50s. And I was like, hold it, hold it. I don't want to live the second chapter of life like this. So what's going on, Denise? So I had to learn, go introspective, and all these things started coming to me. And then last summer, I was brought to my knees. All summer, brought down to my knees. Any trauma that happened to me in my life, I had at the age of 11, I was sexually assaulted. I lost a baby. I had twin daughters. My daughter, I mentioned, had a twin. She was stillborn. That's extremely traumatizing, obviously. I had to start raising my granddaughter because my daughter was a teen parent, doing teenager stuff. So I had to step in at the age of 49 or so to raise a child again. And I wouldn't take it back for the world, things like that. I had to go back to work full time at that time.
That wasn't definitely on your life list. You had ticked your
No.
box.
Yeah, yes. Yes, I'll have a grandchild. I can't wait when my daughter's married and, starts the family. And I'm like, you're 16 and you're pregnant. I didn't handle it well.
Well,
uh,
nobody does, because what we do as parents is we relive our lives vicariously through our children.
mhm,
That's just the way that it happens. And
sure.
you saw what happened and the dysfunction that you were subjected to. You didn't want your daughter to be in a situation with a father that's not going to treat the daughter good and not going to treat her good. You saw all the signs, and there
Yep.
was nothing that you could have said or done that stopped her from having that relationship with that person.
Yeah.
What we have to understand too, Denise, is that each one of us has our own soul contract.
Hmm.
And no matter what we lay out in front of you at a smorgasbord, we're all not going to eat the same meal.
Yep.
That's just the way that it goes. And I know as a mother, it's hard to sit there and see your child go through this because you know what she's headed for. But
Yeah.
a model that I live by is life will show you better than I can tell you.
That is so true. I am learning, just trust the process of life, and trust. And when dealing with my daughter and having to step in to be this parent now, I couldn't be that grandparent that got to spoil the beautiful child and send them home. So, for a lack of a better word, for a while I said I was like a significant other for my daughter, but she learned the hard way. She's doing great now, and things like that, because there were times I had to ask her to leave the house and not come back. But that was because my granddaughter became the priority. And so did, guess what? So did my peace and my joy here. And that's what had to happen.
That's right.
And she had to fall. She had to fall hard and learn on her own. And it was really hard for me to kick her out of the house. I did it twice when she was about 17 years old. The first time, as soon as I told her to get out, I had her close out the door. I said, don't text me, don't do anything. I went down to the basement and cried and sobbed. And then the second time I did it was probably about 3 months later, and I didn't cry or sob. And I was like, man, this is much more peaceful in the house. I like this now. And she wasn't this crazy lunatic teenager, but you know what? The baby became the priority.
That's
And that
right.
was it. That's all I knew. So,
And she didn't get
yeah,
because they still want to be, they still want to be a teenager. They still,
sure,
they want to go out with their friends, they want to drink, they want to party, all this kind
sure.
of, and then mess around and come back pregnant again. So,
Yep.
but again, she's learned from that, and
Yeah.
your granddaughter is 11 years old. So now
Yeah.
your daughter's what, about 28, 29?
She will be 28 in May. Yep.
She is doing wonderfully. But
Yes,
again,
she is.
I had to show her. You couldn't tell her. You couldn't talk her through that.
Absolutely not. And I tried for a while. As we know as parents, you try and try and try, and sometimes they just need to fall. Like I needed to fall.
And can I say something? And without you
Yeah,
getting mad,
sure.
you were a people pleaser. So you was
Of course.
trying to please her too. Well, honey,
Oh yeah.
it's all right. Well, mama understands. It's okay. You did this, you did that. It's all right. It's okay. You're trying to please everyone. So she saw some of that and
Mhm.
incorporated some of that in herself. Number one, it could have been a manipulation tool. Number two, it could be
Mhm.
she had to live through. Maybe she took on the traits because that's epigenetic.
Oh
That's
sure.
so maybe she took on some of that as a trait of being a pleaser among her friends, her crowd, her peer, her boyfriend, all that, and she didn't know how to separate, and she had mama as a buffer. Now, to put your
Mhm.
one of the hardest things uh, that you will ever have to do. I never put her out, but I threatened her.
Yeah.
I put the threat to her, because I'm not playing. I'm not that girl. I'm
Yeah.
girl, and you give your children everything. As parents and as women, we sometimes overcompensate.
Oh, absolutely we do. That's what I did. That's why I didn't like that version of me I became. And it came down to I didn't want my daughter to see that anymore or my granddaughter.
Right.
I did not want my granddaughter to see any of that. And that's not who I want her to be. I didn't want her to be that version of me whatsoever. So I had to learn to set up those boundaries. And it took
So
courage and consistency.
this is where you came up with the unapologetic philosophy, because I
But
tell
yes,
by being unapologetic is not being rude. Uh,
correct.
okay, quick little funny story. My mother never apologized.
Okay.
That was her zone as genius. And I'd be
Hmm.
like, you don't say I'm sorry. She says, April, number one, you look at people's intention when they do something from the giddy up. You look at their intention. What did they mean to do? They meant to hurt
Hmm.
you, they meant to steal from you, lie from you, manipulate you, all that kind of stuff. She says, or you go into a courtroom and someone has killed your child senselessly, uh,
Hmm.
and then they say, I'm sorry. She says, no, I don't do that.
Really?
And I said,
Yeah.
Mama, but you're not sorry. She says, no, I take stock and I take note in what I do. And I make corrective action and I won't let it happen again. But
Hmm.
those words are empty and shallow to me because I want an apology. What you want to do is you want to shame that other person.
Hmm.
Because I can say I'm sorry all day long and not mean it.
Well, sure.
And not
Sure,
mean
absolutely.
you say you're unapologetic. I get what my mother was saying now. And so I'm very careful about that when I say, oh, I've made a mistake. I'm quick to tell somebody I own it. If I've done
Yeah.
something, I
I
said,
like that.
I will tell you I own it.
I
That's the
like that.
being unapologetic. I'm not being rude
Hmm.
because I said that. Yes, I meant that. Yes, I did that. Now I may not do it again, or I was justified in what I did, but I don't have to apologize for it. You have to reclaim your glory. You have to reclaim your goodness. You've got something in
Hmm.
the middle of your head I can't see. It says reclaim,
Which way
rise,
am I going? Reclaim? Can you see it?
reclaim, rise, and thrive. And that's what you have to do. You
Reclaim it. Yeah.
rise above it.
Yeah. And I've come to realize, and I talked to my ladies about it, everything we need, we were born with. It was given to us through perfect love. And that doesn't mean they coming together of man, woman. Whatever your spiritual belief is, we were given this kind, loving heart without even asking. What a gift that is. And then life knocks us around and knocks us around, and we forget that we've been given this power We were born with it. But again, life knocks us around and we forget that. So I don't like to tell people you have to get back your power or you have to, grab it. It's already there. You just need to reclaim who you were born to be and take that and start rising with it. And then you can thrive in life. So there, I don't like people when, I don't like to say we need to fix this. No, we need to learn from this. We need to see what's going on and learn from it and use it, as a growth thing. Yeah.
It's ebbs and flows.
Yes.
We're going to fall back into victim mode. We're human.
Sure. Absolutely.
We're not going to always rise. So we're going to fall.
Absolutely.
Rise. And that's okay. But in those places, those are places for you to become silent, for you to learn a lesson, for you to praise through your circumstance.
Yes, absolutely.
To understand and then to reclaim your goodness and your glory, because we all are good,
Oh my gosh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And again, that's kind of what happened last summer to me. I thought I had to fix something, fix something, fix something. And then I just let go because I was over analyzing. I'm hitting my head against the wall. I was making everything worse. So I was just like, you know what? I reached out to some ladies, my tribe, and I said, I need to talk about something because I don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I learned you know what? I'm just going to release it. And once I was able to do that, and I had to practice and be intentional on it, everything really just ebbed, flowed, and came back to me. It was already here. I tell people that I was brought to my knees with any trauma that ever happened in my life because I kept just pushing them back, pushing them back. I was that type of person. I just keep moving forward. I just keep moving forward. I'm going. Nothing's going to stop me. But one day that stopped working and I didn't know why.
I know. Well, tell us about your tribe and your team and your group that supports you. How did you gather them together? A little bit about them and how are you coaching them?
Yeah, so my tribe is in my Facebook group, and it is called the Empowerment Playground. No, no more overwhelm. Empowerment Playground. I love them. I reach out to people and I engage with people through Facebook and Instagram. I invite them to be part of my playground. That's my tribe, and it's a very safe space for women. It's women only, encouragement and support, and you can just be open there. I do every Monday, I do lives in there. It's called the Empowerment Edge, and I talk about whatever's on my mind. I offer courses and some resource books in there. I also have a tribe. I have a coach as well. I have two coaches because we all need mentors, coaches, whatever you want to use, whatever term. And my coaches have built a tremendous tribe of people as well, like-minded people. We have to be with like-minded people. And I reach out to them when I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I need to talk to somebody. And just like this, somebody's like, Denise, let's hop on a Zoom and we'll talk through this or vice versa. So I also have that as my tribe and my group of people as well. And in my tribe and the women I help, I coach them with my one-on-one. I like to handhold people one-on-one. I like to have them accountable, and I'm with them every step of the way. So it's a one-on-one coaching program, and it's a 12-week program. The framework is called SOAR, and that stands for Stand in Your Power, Own Your Journey, Ascend with Purpose, and Rise as a Warrior. So again, the ladies go with me, and that's the framework. And it encompasses so much. I work with women in toxic relationships. Right now, I'm working with somebody who's been through a lot of trauma, and she's come such a long way. We're halfway through our sessions. I've worked with people, Denise, I don't like wellness. I have a background in fitness and personal training. I don't technically work in that area anymore, but I can coach people in wellness because it's all about the mind, right? It's all about the mindset and mind shifts and trusting and things like that. So I can encompass all of that within that SOAR framework of my coaching program. I also offer free courses that I do through Zooms, and I invite people to the courses. I do workshops. I'm having a big, what I call a challenge, the first week of May. It'll be 5 days, and that's going to go right into Mother's Day, because women, we don't invest time in ourselves. We invest time. We may invest some money in ourselves, to go get those cute pair of shoes and the massages and stuff. And again, those all have their place. I love a good massage, don't get me wrong.
I do too, girl.
But my gosh, but why won't we invest in maybe doing a class, having a mentor, having a coach, having whatever it is? The women just don't do it. And then they're like, well, I don't have time. And I'm like, I used to think the same thing, but I'll show you how you have time. So anyway, I'm hoping to segue that in to really hone in with these ladies. We will drop everything except for you, April, because you were taught at 13. We will drop, if you're like me, or how I was, drop everything for anybody in an instant except for ourselves.
Well, I had a traumatic incident in front of a huge audience of people. Okay. I was humiliated in front of all these people at 13. And I stood there and I said, this can't be happening to me. This is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I straightened my dress up, I threw my shoulders back and held my head up. And I told myself at that time, I said, from this day forward, my self-worth and value is not contingent on an audience. How do I feel about me? People have through that as arrogant, conceited, cocky. No, baby, that's self-love.
Absolutely, 100%.
I've got breaks. My mother used to say, if you die and you only have 3 people in your corner, she said, baby, you living with a treasure. Because
absolutely.
People are going to come and go. Situations,
that is so true.
Your money, but like you said, time is really an illusion. I was talking to my husband not too long ago, and it was like 11 o'clock, and he's just retired, and he said, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So why even worry about that? But you have to carve out some time for yourself. If it's just
without a doubt,
get up in the morning before everybody gets up, have you a cup of tea outside, go for a walk.
You want to know my big one, April? Because you just hit it on the head. One of the big game changers for me, besides learning to set up those boundaries, and this is part of my boundary, every morning I get up before anybody else does, about an hour and a half before anybody else. I come into my office, I shut the doors. They know if that door is shut, the only reason you are to knock on that door is because somebody's dying or there's a fire. It has to be an emergency. And the biggest thing that changed with that for me was I will not look at my phone until I am done with my hour and a half to myself, because my phone used to set my agenda for me. I'm setting my agenda. So I do my morning meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it. I have my quiet time. I try to read a little bit. I may journal a little bit. Nobody is allowed to get a hold of me until that time is over. And I will not look at my phone until that time is over. And then I'm in a good state to start my day. And I know that I can navigate whatever life throws at me that day.
And I do the same thing. I do the same. First thing people do, they got to wake up in the middle of the night and go pee. What they do, they grab their phone, and while they're on the phone, they're scrolling through their phone.
I used to do that.
That's toxic and it's poison.
And just think about this. Why are we carrying a phone to the bathroom anyway? I mean, really?
You're not supposed to be in there that long anyway.
Yeah.
But then you look at mainstream media. First thing people do is turn on the news. I have promised myself, after all that big kerfuffle with the last election, I said I will watch the news 15 minutes a day, maybe in the morning, maybe 15 in the evening, to make sure that I am not in harm's way.
Sure.
Outside of that, I don't need to hear that regurgitation and
that
echo chamber of misery.
Amen to that.
When you go through social media, it used to be recipes and pictures of somebody's cat or now it is a political battleground. I just scroll on through it.
Absolutely.
I don't even want to embed that in me because it's a part of the distraction brains. People are trying to off your game. If Denise was running that obstacle course and had no sense of internal compass and direction, she would be lost. She could be suffocated in that mud. That mud ain't no joke.
No, it's not.
Not no joke. You think that it's just, no, it is thick. It is hard to get through. There's rocks in there.
Yep.
It's slippery, but she is not distracted. She is focused because she's got an end game. Brains,
I
ask
have
your,
I have a why.
yeah, what is your
That's what,
game? What is your, why are
yep,
you doing this?
absolutely. If we don't have a strong enough why, and when I say a why or the reason, a why that brings so much emotion in you that you almost get choked up, you will not move forward towards your goals, dreams, that person you want to be. And I'll share my why right now. And it took me about 3 weeks to figure out. It's like when I started this coaching business and that, and I was going through, why do I want to do this? All that other fun stuff. And at first I was like, well, for my daughter and my granddaughter, which is part of it, but that didn't bring up the emotion I was looking for. And then I was like, you know what? Because I am not stinking going back to where I was. I refuse to live how I was living. And that was it. So whenever I start doubting myself, which we all do, I still have those thoughts that come in. I will say to myself, what's your why? I actually have a little plaque. It says, remember your why. And I have my whys in a Sharpie. I wrote along that plaque. So if I go into that doubt and I may struggle to get myself out, I'll look at my plaque. And like this, it brings me out and brings me back up.
You know what? One of my guests gave me something that was the most precious gift. She said, when those doubts or insecurity or pain or bad memories come to you, she takes her hand and she lays it on her cheek. And I said, well, why do you do that? She says, because that's a constant reminder of what that was and what I need to do with it. Oh, this feeling has come back. Oh, what
Mm.
do I do with it? It's sensory therapy. It's
Mm-hmm.
touch. You know, some people are sparked by smells. Some people are
Mm-hmm.
sparked by sounds. Some people are sparked by locations. But if you gently caress yourself and remind yourself that, yes, this is that evil nemesis that's back again, but now I can hold it in the palm of my hand and I can lay it against me without fear, without judgment, and I can comfort myself. I can self soothe myself through a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was the sweetest thing.
Love that.
It's not
I can comfort. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. I mean, what do you do when a baby is uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You want to soothe them, but you also want to teach them how to self-soothe so you don't have to pick them up all the time, that they can kind of rock themselves to sleep, that they can control their breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and reduce their anxiety so that they can get through a situation. And I'm so glad that you did it, and you get it when you get it. But
Yeah.
when you turn 60, I want you to call me
Oh,
because
okay.
there's something that's going to happen to you. When I turned 60,
Mm-hmm.
talking about a liberation, there was things I don't even give a shit about. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like you said, if the house is not on fire or somebody's dead, don't you touch that door.
Nope. Don't not knocking nothing. Don't even walk toward the door.
Don't even walk to the door. There's nothing in there for you. I really
Correct.
started to think about, well, is this important? Do I want to argue about this? Do I want to do I want to be upset? Do I want to continue to have this conversation? That's what
Amen. Yes.
I'm over. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about this 3 or 4 times. Like I said, my motto is I can
No.
tell you better than I can tell you, baby. I'm gonna talk about it one time. We might have to go over the second time, but we're not gonna talk about this 3, 4, 5 times if we are not trying to make corrective action and make it better.
Exactly. I had learned to say, in particular to my daughter when we were having, struggles, but to other people too, when, the battle would be going on. And I finally learned to pull myself out here. So I wasn't in all the emotion and that I like to say the nitty gritty. And when I was able to pull myself out here, as if I were looking at it from somebody else's point of view who didn't have all the emotion attached to it and things like that. I was then also able to say and look at her and go, this conversation is now ended. And I would smile and I would just walk away. And it took her a while to kind of catch on to that. But once she did, or if she felt she needed to ask more questions, I said, that's fine, but I'll let you know when it's time. The
Right.
time is not right now. And I say very kindly and things like that, but that was setting a boundary as well.
And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for you to be swearing, and they're looking for you to be all red in the face and your
Oh,
hair.
yeah,
You know,
that was me. That used to be me.
That's like situations in relationships. Ladies, let me tell
Yes.
you, when a man pays attention is when you're calm.
Hmm.
You done got yourself together, you done had a cocktail or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Went for a walk, and you come back and you're clear headed and you say, okay, now look, John, this is it. And don't say nothing else because we over talk it and we overthink it.
Yes.
And they're waiting for that. And they don't even hear anything that you're saying. But when you're calm and you lay it down, the facts, baby,
Mhm.
you're gonna get a whole different reaction.
Yeah, when you're able to take the emotion out. I mean, the
Right,
emotion's still there, but I was reactionary, right? I reacted, reacted, reacted. I'm done reacting. And I'm going to be more intentional. And I'm
right,
going to do whatever it takes, April and brains out there, to keep my peace here. Nobody can take that peace from you unless you allow it. People are like, well, that offends me. And I'm like, I can't be offended unless I allow it.
right,
You cannot offend me unless I allow it. If I allow it, that's on me. That's not on whoever is supposedly offending me. And again, it's kind of the same concept. You can't take my peace away from me if I don't allow it.
right.
And that's where I had to get.
So let's
Mhm.
ask some fun questions about you.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite places on the planet.
Yes.
Here in Ohio. Girl, I don't know if y'all ever been to Ohio and seen the Amish. I love the Amish. They are in a time capsule.
Yep.
Still there. Now, there's a lot that's a lot more progressive now, but they still have the horse and buggy. They
Yep.
still speak in their own dialect. Um, but I think that could be kind of hard for women too to see the progression of your next door
Hmm.
versus how you might feel suppressed. But it's a mind discipline. It's a mind control. It's a religious doctrine.
Yes.
People are moving more towards energetics, quantum physics, and spirit.
Yes.
Where do you see women going now um, in the evolution of time? Because this is the time of the woman.
Yes, that's a really good question. Where I live again, you say Amish community. I have two Amish farms across the street from me. I live in like the fourth biggest Amish community in the country, in the US. So I really feel it depends because I also get to engage with women all over the world because of this lovely internet we have.
Mhm.
So I find where I live in Ohio, that women aren't as progressive, and that's very frustrating for me. We still fall into the mold of, we're the ones who have to take care of the family. We're the ones that have to do this. We're not going to ask our husbands to do this. We're going to feel guilty about it. I'm not going, and I'm okay with that because, I'm raising my family, and that's what I was trained to do or believed to do. And I know the women, again, where I live, it's very hard for me to persuade them to think a little bit differently. Now, the women that I have been able to talk with overseas, and even more women out your way, April, out on the west side, even on the west coast, even on the east coast,
We are lawless
are
on the West
more.
Coast. We are lawless.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there's a place for that in certain ways too. So those ladies are seem to be more open to trying new things, thinking different ways. Here, not so much, and it's really a mission of mine everywhere, obviously, to hit all the women. But here, it's hard to crack that shell.
Well, even with that, it's out of respect. And we say all of this to all of you, wherever you are, whatever space you're in, with respect. But
Yeah.
men have been taught to be the hunters and the gatherers. They are the providers.
Yes.
The women are the nurturers. They are the caregivers. Now, I've got two girlfriends right now that their husbands are house husbands, and the wife goes out and earns the income, and
Mhm.
everybody's happy. It's a
Yeah.
total reversal, but
Yeah.
epigenetics. What your
Yes.
you got to co-sign with your mother, how you're treating the grandkids, and then her mother, and then the
Hmm.
mother-in-law. So you have all of these contributing factors. So for you to be able to crack that shell and say that I am this innovative, new age, 21st century woman, you know,
Yeah.
back in the 1800s, dressing like I'm back in the 1800s, it can be devastating. And again,
Yeah.
who do I have to support me outside of Denise and April? Is Denise and April going to pay my rent? Are they going to take care of my kids? Are they, there's the quality of education. Are they
Hmm.
going to school? Are they getting upper level degrees? Are they entrepreneurial? Are they making money? So it's a lot. It's a big container. And I understand that. And I respect you ladies where you are, but be a critical thinker, know your own
Yeah.
mind, and try to be progressive. Talking about progressive, if you were a tool in a toolbox, what tool would you be?
If I were a tool in a toolbox, the first thing that comes to my mind is some kind of saw.
Ooh, why would you be a
I
saw?
honestly, like I think I envisioned a saw, and I love tools. I I love tools. Is I think because again, a saw, you just keep kind of cutting through, and you just keep going and going until you reach that goal of cutting through, whatever you need to cut through. So I think that's why saw probably immediately popped into my head. I feel like I would be a saw.
I'd
And
be
yeah, cool.
a power drill.
Yeah. Oh, I love drills. I
But
love
I
power
want to,
tools too.
I want to be able to nail it down. I want to be able to screw
Yeah.
it tight. I want it to
Yeah.
rip. So I would be a power tool. If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
A whale. A
Oh,
whale. Whales are actually my favorite animals. They're majestic, they're graceful, they're elegant. They, I love water, so that's probably part of it too. They're powerful, yet like humble. I
mm,
think they just encompass everything. I would be a whale.
I'd be an elephant.
I love elephants. Yeah,
I love
that would be
elephants
my second.
because they're big, they're
Yeah.
bold, strong, but they travel among a pride. They're excellent parents. I went to an elephant sanctuary in Thailand.
Hmm.
Oh my,
Yeah.
an elephant mama is better than a dog with puppies. They
Yeah.
are really, really great parents, and they never forget. They've got long,
Hmm.
they never
Yeah.
forget. If you could have a conversation with a 25-year-old Denise Day Nash, what would you say to her?
What would I say to Denise Day Nash? That life is a journey. There are no failures. It is all a learning journey, and you're okay just who you are in that moment. That's what I would say to the 25-year-old Denise Nash. And the world is yours. The world is yours.
And what are you
Just
saying to
take it.
your 11-year
Mhm.
old granddaughter?
To my 11-year-old granddaughter, I basically tell her the same. I tell her that she is who she is. She is not a chameleon. Stay strong in who you are. I tell her life will not be easy, but we only build character when we are challenged and we have things happen to us. Those who build character are the ones who respond with resilience and in a better way when challenges pop up. They don't play victim. They don't say, why me, why me, why me? They figure it out. And
Mm,
that's what I try to teach my 11-year-old granddaughter. On top of April, life is to experience and to have a blast. Go have a blast, experience every part of life, and have adventures.
mhm. That's
Yeah.
what I would tell my daughter too. And I was concerned. I'm a creative, and my daughter's a creative. And I would come home,
Hmm.
a young girl would have ears and tail on. The world are you doing? I'm a creature. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Oh, she would get adamant about it.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, Lord, what have I done here? I don't know how to deal with this. And she is 37 years old and she is at Disneyland every Monday.
oh my gosh, how fun.
Look, I guess so. I asked her, I said, so how long have you been doing the mouse?
Uh,
Mommy, she says, it's the happiest place on earth. So I could have a bigger problem. But she turned out to be a sought after makeup designer and
Mhm.
costume designer for the theater. And she,
Awesome.
and she is in her glory.
Yeah.
Allowing them to be who they are. They go to school and they are in these standardized testings. All
Hmm.
9-year-olds are supposed to act a certain way, read a certain way. All
Yep.
of them are coming up with different ADHD, autism. They're coming up with these
Hmm.
challenges. I've never seen it before. They want to drug them, they want to medicate them. Now they want to get rid of the Department of Education. So, how are we going to educate them? So, you are giving her, you're giving her the golden ticket and saying, hey, experience life, go outside,
Yeah.
meet people, talk, put the
Yeah.
device is going to be there. All of that information is stored. You can go back anytime you want, but
Yeah.
it's not healthy for you. And in closing, Denise, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be your legacy?
I want my legacy to be that I have been able to inspire, if only a handful of women, to live unapologetically, to be themselves, and to just, again, I'm going to use the word again, experience life, enjoy life. We weren't here to watch life go by us. We're here to experience it. And whatever that is for you, okay, it's going to be different for me, it's going to be different for you. So that's what I for all women, including obviously my daughter and my granddaughter, but for all women, that's what I want my legacy to be. And I want it to be that when they say my name, it was impactful and inspirational, but also Denise was funny, adventurous, she's goofy, because I laugh out loud and I don't care where I am, type of person. You'll see me dancing down the aisle when a tune hits me in the grocery store. That's the type of person I am, and that's the legacy I want to leave for other people. Just live life and have a stinking blast,
Yeah,
because that's what we should be doing.
in the grocery, I go to a couple grocery stores, and I'm telling you, the radio station and there be jamming, and I be singing,
Yeah.
and people turn around and they smile. They said, "You're happy." I said, "You make a joyful noise unto the Lord." If you
Yes.
And so you have to speak it. Don't be ashamed of it. Find outlets. If that is art, if that is music, if that is science, if that's wearing
Yeah.
tail, go ahead and
Oh
do it.
my.
Whatever it
Absolutely.
does to take you to that zenith point. Denise, please tell my brains how to get in contact with you. I'd love for them to connect with you and your group and your tribe of women.
I would love your brains to contact me. So a couple different ways. I do have, again, a free group in Facebook called the Empowerment Playground, No More Overwhelm. They can find me on my Facebook profile, Denise Day Nash. And those would be the two quickest ways to find me. I'm on Instagram too, at Denise Day Nash. So I would love to have some of the brains just come into my Facebook group. Like I said, we have fun. And it's just a lot of fun to support and encourage other women.
It is. And you know what? It can be a secret hiding place. We
Oh,
all
I
have
like that.
places. That's like Denise. She goes into her office. Me, I go outside in my garden.
Mhm.
And nobody has to know what you're doing.
Yep.
There are other beautiful fairies floating around there that understand and respect you, that you can be yourself, that you can say what you want to say and be unapologetic. Thank you so much. Brains, go in and love, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my Spreaker channel. I had to move from Blog Talk over to Spreaker because Blog Talk closed down. Just like everything else, you reinvent yourself. You can Google this interview on all of the major hotspots, share it with a friend, go in and listen to other edgy conversations, connect with Denise, join her coaching group because she has a lot to offer. She comes with a lot of wisdom, a lot of respect, and integrity, and she can run an obstacle course in the mud, brains. Okay. Thank you so much for being here on the show. I appreciate you, value you, and wish you only the best.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, Brains.